EPCOT's World Showcase offers guests the exclusive opportunity to visit 11 countries in a single-mile loop. Within these 11 pavilions are opportunities to eat, drink, and shop like a local while experiencing attractions that immerse you in the cultures and traditions of that country. But with 11 of these incredible pavilions to choose from, how do you pick the ones to prioritize with your EPCOT time? Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars TV and AllEars.net. Today we're talking about the 4 best pavilions in EPCOT's World Showcase, according to you. We went straight to the reviews section of AllEars.net to compile this list directly from your reviews to help your fellow viewers decide which World Showcase pavilions are worth your time in EPCOT. Your pick for the 4th best pavilion in EPCOT's World Showcase with a rating of 8.46. The Norway Pavilion. Located between the Mexico and China pavilions in World Showcase, the Norway Pavilion drops guests right in the middle of Scandinavia as they enter a recreation of a picturesque town square, designed to collectively represent Norwegian towns and cities including Bergen and Oslo.
Carly Marie 33 said, "This is by far my favorite pavilion to visit. The food is very similar to the homeland of Norway. The architecture is beautiful, Anna and Elsa are here, and there's a ride too. The only reason this isn't a 10 is because I wish it was a bigger space. I wish Disney would add on to this pavilion."
Carly Marie, I totally agree. There's a lot to love in this little pavilion. It's beautiful, you've got architecture details like the staved church, plus Frozen Ever After is a very charming family ride. A great pavilion.
A great ride, unique shops, and beautiful theming. What's not to love about Norway? I also want to give a special shout out to a not always brought up topic, which is that the bathrooms here are fantastic. They're always very clean, they're very wonderfully themed. Definitely a top bathroom pick in all of World Showcase.
While in the past this pavilion was known for its authenticity and attention to real Scandinavian detail and storytelling, in more recent years, it's best known for being the home to the Frozen Ever After ride that Molly and Morgan are talking about, and it's a great ride. The Norway Pavilion also features the Royal Summer House meet and greet with Anna and Elsa, and a replica of a traditional staved church with a small but impressive exhibit, Gods of Vikings, featuring some very old artifacts. For a great pastry, stop into Kringla Bakery for breakfast or dessert, or just a treat in the middle of the day. This is the home of the legendary and controversial EPCOT snack, school bread. The blend here of fantasy and authentic history and culture is what some people love about the pavilion, while it may leave some families confused if they're trying to use World Showcase to teach our children about different cultures around the world. Frozen Ever After replaced a ride called Maelstrom, which told the real stories of Norwegian culture, and some argue it was a better use of the space since, Arendelle isn't a real place.
Don't get me wrong, I love Norway, and I feel like a lot of people do actually enjoy it, but when you really think about it, compared to all of the other pavilions, Norway is really small, and it seems to be more about Disney's IP Frozen than anything else.
Frequent reviewer Heartbreak Chris told us, "One of 2 pavilions with a ride. Norway is a must-do. Although I prefer Maelstrom with its unique look at the real country of Norway and its mythology, the Frozen attraction is also fun." An anonymous reviewer added, "This pavilion is stunning. It's got mountains, waterfall, and amazing architecture. And also a great ride." Disney Dana summed it up by saying, "One of my favorites because, wait for it, it has a ride. I love looking at the Helly Hansen gear in the shop when you exit one of the best dark rides ever. The costumes the CMs wear are beautiful and make you feel like you're there."
I love the Norway Pavilion. I'm a firm believer in the superiority of the grassy roof. I wish I could have one on my house. So yes, I very much like this one.
The pros. There's no such place as Arendelle in Norway or anywhere else on the planet, but fans of the mega popular Frozen film franchise will especially love this pavilion. You won't find a more iconic snack in EPCOT than Norway's school bread. In fact, this tops lists of iconic snacks in all of Walt Disney World. There are only 3 rides in World Showcase pavilions, and Norway is one of them, with the others being the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the 3 Caballeros in the Mexico Pavilion and the new Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in France. The cons? This pavilion is smaller than some, and with the addition of the mega popular Frozen attractions, you could find yourself stuck in some pretty intense crowds without a lot of room to spread out. It's not uncommon to see lines for Frozen Ever After stretched all the way to the China Pavilion next door. We don't see equivalent lines in World Showcase, and that won't change with the upcoming Remy's Ratatouille Adventure ride in the France Pavilion, since that ride will utilize Disney's virtual queue system similar to Rise of the Resistance in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Most guests are going to love Frozen's presence in this pavilion, but for those diehard fans of the original EPCOT and World Showcase, it may be disappointing to see some of the original authenticity lost. Your pick for the 3rd best pavilion in EPCOT's World Showcase with a rating of 8.56. The Japan Pavilion. Located between the American Adventure and Morocco Pavilion, the Japanese Pavilion transports you to an authentic Japanese courtyard full of details that immerse you in Japanese history. You'll find a 7th century inspired pagoda, a traditional torii gate in the waters of World Showcase Lagoon, and the centerpiece of the pavilion, the impressive reproduction of the 17th century White Heron Castle. While various rides and attractions were included in the original plans for this pavilion, they all fell through, leaving us with restaurants, shopping, and a small but impressive museum.
Primo1969 said, having spent some time in Okinawa, Japan with the USAF, it felt as if I was back there. My family and I, wife and son, had lunch and my son tried Japanese hibachi. I laughed so hard when he asked for fried rice and the cast members said that was not an option. He really enjoyed the chef's show when cooking our food.
Primo 1969, this is such a sweet review. I know that World Showcase doesn't always do the best job of showing worldly cultures, but you're right. When it does, it's totally magic. I really do feel like I'm traveling the world sometimes.
Japan has some of the best dining in World Showcase if you're a fan of Japanese cuisine. People love the hibachi up at Teppanito, but for anyone who's a diehard foodie, I have to recommend Takumite. It's a gorgeous experience. It's signature, so it's more expensive, but our servers taught us part of the traditional Japanese tea ceremony. It was a very cultural and enriching experience, and the food was fabulous. So if you're an adventurous eater or a diehard foodie, I highly recommend it.
They are not wrong about the dining. The Japan Pavilion has 4 full restaurants and 3 kiosks, so if you like Japanese food, you're in luck. Kitsura Grill will bring you quick service sushi. You'll find table service sushi and Japanese entrees at Tokyo Dining. Teppanito presents a classic teppanyaki restaurant, and Takumi TI offers a signature luxury Japanese meal. Add on the selections of sake, kakagori, which is a kind of Japanese shaved ice, and more from the kiosks. You've got plenty of options, and Japan is consistently home to one of the more popular EPCOT Festival booths. We also hear from a lot of the readers that an afternoon shopping excursion at Mitsukoshi Department Store cannot be missed. Mitsukoshi is a real-life department store company that was established in Tokyo all the way back in 1673. So this EPCOT favorite is surprisingly steeped in history. But don't expect to find your standard Disney merchandise here. Mitsukoshi has some of the most varied stock of any store in Disney World, with everything from ramen to Animal Crossing plushes to actual swords. And between all the shopping and eating, you might want to make some time to visit a gallery and check out the entertainment.
If I could only go into one store in all of World Showcase, I would choose Mitsukoshi at Japan. It is one of the most unique stores and it's absolutely massive. You will find any and everything in there.
An anonymous reviewer notes, there is plenty to do in Japan. You can go shopping, go through the walk-through museums, and eat at their restaurants. The food here is pretty fun. You can even get your own oyster pearl. Janelle B. added, Japan is beautiful. At night, the red gates in the water is visually beautiful. The stores are fun and extensive, such variety of snacks to try. As for what it's missing, Stephen Wilson says, this place just needs an attraction. The pros. The Japan Pavilion is a large space. You won't feel as pinched in as you will at many of the other pavilions, and there is a lot to explore. When you think that some of the pavilions have just a handful of restaurants, the sheer number of options in Japan really makes it stand out. You should be able to find an experience for whatever mood you're in. Seriously, we're not sure the shopping in Japan can be beat. Mitsukoshi is one of the largest stores in all of EPCOT and features a fun variety that is pretty much unique across Disney World. The cons? When you're in Disney World, you can't discount that you'll probably want to go on a ride. Japan has no rides or shows, and that can make it feel like it's missing something. Because of the size of this pavilion, you might miss out on certain areas. It's easy to stick to the main courtyard, but don't forget to spend time wandering around the koi pond and be sure to venture towards the back of the pavilion. There's tons of stuff there. Mitsukoshi might have some eye-catching options for your kiddo, but after that, they may get bored. The rest of the pavilion isn't exactly geared towards littles, so it can be a challenge to keep kids interested, as long as the grown-ups might be. Your pick for the second best pavilion in World Showcase, with a rating of 8.60, the United Kingdom Pavilion. Just past Canada, on the right-hand side of World Showcase, you'll find the United Kingdom Pavilion, where British culture is king. Queen. This pavilion is a trip through time with architecture spanning the historical eras of Europe. Guests can stroll through the maze garden, peruse a variety of teas, and of course, pick up a brew from the pub.
Liz AH08 said, one of my favorite pavilions. There are tons of seating areas. You are likely to see Mary Poppins, the beer at Rose and Crown. The details make this one of my favorites. We spend a lot of time in the UK Pavilion when we are there.
I completely agree with Liz AH08. The UK Pavilion is also one of my favorites. While you're there, make sure to pick up some fish and chips and a beer over at the Rose and Crown. And if you're there around the fireworks, make sure that you can try and get some seating outside at the Rose and Crown. It will be an absolutely fantastic view of the fireworks.
The UK Pavilion is actually home to one of my favorite EPCOT and Disney World details in general. Take a look at the shops because they are each themed after sort of a different era of UK architecture. So you start with the thatch roof at the Twinings, and then you can go all the way around and watch the time pass by.
As you can tell, the UK Pavilion is a popular spot to grab some fish and chips and a beer and take in the sights. Between the Rose and Crown pub and dining room, Yorkshire Fish Shop, and the old reliable beer cart, you're not far from a bite and a brew, whether you want it in a sit-down setting or not. Guests can sit by the water and take in the sights, or simmer about the harmonious barges, your choice, or take a stroll through the shops and gardens of the pavilion. A number of your reviews mention Twinings, the Tea Caddy, and we do love prepping for tea time, but you shouldn't skip the Toy Soldier, the Crown and Crest, or any of the other shops throughout the pavilion. Now, unfortunately, the UK Pavilion is not home to an attraction. Disney did announce an upcoming Mary Poppins area, but with the park closures last year, it's unclear when or if that addition will come. Don't worry though, there's plenty of entertainment in the UK Pavilion. Catch some live music or say hello to beloved characters like Mary Poppins, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and Winnie the Pooh.
Pip, pip, cheerio, mate. I love this pavilion. It's one of my favorites. Is that because so many beloved characters like Mary the Poppins and Winnie the Pooh call it home? Or perhaps I love fish and chips. Or perhaps I just love a pint from the pub. Perhaps we'll never know. But either way, I love the United Kingdom Pavilion.
Beth Webb 1981 appreciates the simplicity, saying, United Kingdom is simple but beautiful. There are several unique character meet and greets that seldom have a line. Disney Diner noted, I love the UK Pavilion. The Twinings Tea Shop is one of my favorite places to shop. I love when they serve tea samples. All the shops are nice, as are the cast members. I like the way they've blended the architecture. And an anonymous review doubles down, noting, when I'm in the UK Pavilion, I can go to the Twinings Tea Store to buy tea that can only be purchased in EPCOT. Plus, I can purchase other childhood snacks in this store that I cannot anywhere else. The pros. The UK Pavilion is not only nice to look at, but it's well thought out. Despite being on the smaller side, there are plenty of details to look out for. There may not be options, but you love the food and drink options in the UK. Fish and chips fans and beer drinkers will be especially happy campers in this pavilion. The UK Pavilion is home to some of the most beloved Disney characters. Who doesn't want to hug Winnie the Pooh? And the live music at the pub is typically a blast. The cons? If you're not looking for heavy or fried fare, you've come to the wrong place, and those who don't drink beer might feel a little overlooked. Head next door to France for a wider variety of options. We can dream, can't we, that this might change one day with the Mary Poppins announcement, but for now, this land has the downside of being ride and showless. Because of the popularity of entertainment in this pavilion and the pub's solid real estate for fireworks watching, this pavilion can get crowded depending on the time of day. This is certainly a pavilion people like to hang out in, and that can get frustrating for those looking to avoid the crowds. And your pick for the best pavilion in Epcot's World Showcase, coming in with a rating of 8.69, the France Pavilion. The France Pavilion is one of the largest in all of Epcot and will have you strolling the streets of Paris, smelling French pastries, and pursuing high-end French goods. Add in the upcoming Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and La Crêperie de Paris in the France expansion, and this pavilion is only getting more inviting.
Sam Yeager 1 said, "This is my favorite pavilion. It is so beautiful and there is so much detail. Once Ratatouille comes, it will be even better. There is also great dining, some of my favorite in the parks. This is a great pavilion."
Sam Yeager 1, we must have been separated at birth because I completely agree with you. They have some of the best food. Come on, that French onion soup sends me to a state of cheesy euphoria.
If I had to choose just one pavilion to go to while I'm visiting World Showcase, it would be the France Pavilion. And that's without even including the new expansion that's gonna have the Crêperie and Remy. It is fantastic theming, you get fantastic food, and this is just always a top spot for me to visit for all of the festivals.
So where to begin? France has a lot to offer, and the France expansion opening on October 1st is bringing more space. The new Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and a table service quick service hybrid. Remy's is a copy of a ride that already exists in Disneyland Paris, and it is much anticipated, so it might make this pavilion even more popular than it already is. You can check out Molly's preview video of the ride right here. But as fun as Remy's Adventure might be, it's got to compete for the best part of the pavilion, which is the food. France is legendary for delicious eats and drinks, from table service options at Chefs de France and Monsieur Paul, to the L'Artisan des Glaces, to the much-loved Les All Patisserie. And yes, I butchered all of those words. That's my problem with France. I know what I want to eat, I just don't know how to tell the chef. But seriously, everything at Les All is good, or at least everything we've tried. It's a great stop for breakfast, lunch, snack, or dessert. This pavilion is also home to some very Parisian shopping options and a theater that shows both the Beauty and the Beast sing-along and Impressions de France. And don't forget to check out the French performance exhibit in the waiting area of the theater.
I know everyone is super pumped about Remy, and I love Les All. The food is very good, I get it. But my favorite part about the France Pavilion is much lamer. It's the French literature from page to screen exhibit that sits in the waiting area for the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. It is such a cool exhibit. You can see props from actual productions of Phantom of the Opera and How to Notre Dame and La Vie Bohème. Oh, it's so cool. Sorry, Bohème. I know opera.
Lover of Disney told us, "This is my favorite pavilion in Epcot by far. The snacks are fantastic, great character meet and greet location, and an amazing atmosphere." And they're not the only one. Jessica Critch agrees. "I personally believe this is the best country in the World Showcase. It has so much dining and will be even better when the Ratatouille ride opens. The street shows are so entertaining and the atmosphere is incredible. The shops are cute, but the dining is phenomenal." E. Kim adds, "The pavilion is very well designed with great places to eat, from ice cream to sit-down meals that are superb."
France won the cheese throwdown I did, which was scientific proof that it's the best pavilion in Epcot. I don't think I need to say anything further.
The pros. When it comes to immersion and feeling like you're actually in France, the Imagineers have done a wonderful job of creating the perfect feeling of romance. with food. Seriously, you just love the food. Which takes us to the second pro. Amazing food! France has dining that is consistently rated with some of the best in all of EPCOT. Whether you're grabbing a sit-down meal or a super rich and flaky pastry treat, you're likely to come away satisfied. The France Pavilion already has several meal and dessert options, some iconic drinks like the Grand Marnier slush, amazing theming, and the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. And now it's getting another table service, quick service restaurant, and an e-ticket attraction? That's a lot that it's got going for it. The cons? Because France is so popular, it's almost always crowded. Despite being large overall, the pathways can be pinched. Look, it's no secret that the eats in France are très magnifique, so lots of guests tend to be in line for them at any given time. This pavilion just doesn't seem to have enough seating. With all the grab-and-go options, you might be stuck scoping out, oh, there's a family that's hopefully almost done eating so that you can swoop in. And that does it for your list of the best World Showcase pavilions in EPCOT. What did you think of this list? Did your favorite pavilion make it, or do you feel like your fellow viewers got it all wrong? Like, hey, where's Mexico? Hello? If you love Mexico, head over to AllEars.net and leave your review. You can leave it for everything Disney parks related: hotels, restaurants, rides, and more. You have the power to change this list right now by leaving your own review, and who knows, your opinion may be included in a future episode. If you like this video, please, it's important, click that thumbs up. Be sure to stay tuned to AllEars TV and AllEars.net for more Disney news. Follow us on social media at AllEars.net. New to the channel? Check out the other AllEars videos right here. There's a ton of them. And please subscribe to AllEars.net down here. Clang the little notification bell and you immediately get notified when we post a new video. This is Chris for AllEars TV. I'll see you next time.